But I just heard a bunch of, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? So I know when I come around this corner, somebody getting shot.
You know what, place? Bun Cam Cold Heart. What you talking about, nigga? Fuck wrong with him?
For those of you who don't know, it seems like DaBaby has planted himself firmly on NBA YoungBoy's side in the ongoing OTF vs 4KT beef. But maybe there's just a little more subtlety going on in the story than that. Seems like the whole industry is involved in the feud, but unfortunately, maybe that's not for the better. See, this all started out as a street beef, and now it's taken on a life of its own. Memo600 got involved, and while that in itself isn't a bad thing, it could simply be fanning the flames. Just a little backstory to get you up to date. Everything started when King Von, an up-and-coming rapper and good friend of Lil Durk from Chicago's O Block, was taken out. O Block is known as one of the toughest hoods on the south side of town, and to make matters worse, Von was on a come-up. Everyone in town knew who he was, and he was starting to come into his own into the mainstream too. The shooter in this situation was a guy by the name of Lil Tim, an associate of the Atlanta rapper Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo was friends with King Von for a time back around 2017. He even showed up in a video with Von calling out the ops from 63rd Street.
I'm saying though, they got 63rd niggas, some dirty ass niggas, man. Y'all niggas talking about, man. I'm talking about, hey, listen, though, man, the nigga on 64, man, y'all 63rd niggas over there smoking crack and shit.
Quando was also signed to NBA YoungBoy's label. Now, as we all know, YoungBoy's really about that life, as are Quando and Lil Durk. But maybe things got a little bit out of hand from here. Quando responded to the death of King Von by releasing a track called End of Story, where he talks about how his homie was just doing the best to protect him. According to most accounts, that's true. Von came at Quando really for no reason as far as we could tell, although there was probably something going on behind the scenes. From there, a few people from O Block and related sets made some posts on social media about how they were going to take care of whoever was involved in Von's death, and the internet was here for the beef. For whatever reason, tons of people sitting behind their keyboards were calling out for violence. Some people even went as far as to call Lil Durk fake for not sliding for his recently laid friend. Of course, since YoungBoy runs the label that Rondo was on, he has some tough decisions to make. Obviously, if he sat back and pretended that nothing happened, people would think he was soft. Since one of his homies was now actively a target, he knew what he had to do. YoungBoy's in a complicated life situation right now, being on house arrest in Utah and all that. So since he's facing some serious time, maybe he feels empowered to act recklessly. This is where it really starts to heat up. He released a couple tracks called Know Like I Know and Bring the Hook, which basically came directly for O Block's throat. I mean, he called out the entire block and he said he was coming for him. That being said, the backlash for all this was pretty heavy. Immediately, O Block released a video of a bunch of people stomping on YoungBoy's 4KT green flags and setting them on fire.
Saying O Block paint the city red, smoke blown off the Maggie tryna, yeah, it is what it is, nice
This is also about the same time that we get a whole bunch of other people involved in the beef that originally had nothing to do with it. 21 Savage, NLE Choppa, to Wack 100, and others started all weighing in, occasionally with some good points. See, the thing is, while this whole beef started in the streets, it's made the rap industry as a whole a complete minefield. You can't collaborate with any of the artists involved in the beef if you aren't ready to take a stand and sound like you have problems with the other side. Unfortunately, that's pretty much what we've seen. The biggest development is the fact that DaBaby just dropped a collab tape with NBA YoungBoy called Better Than You, and to make matters worse, the tape dropped on the same day King Von's new posthumous album dropped. Obviously, that's a direct diss at the ops. Now, DaBaby has been in a lot of controversy lately, from his insensitive remarks at the Rolling Loud to his personal mess with his baby mama, Danny Lee, to being sued for the crazy brawl at the bowling alley with Brandon Bills. Now, after his collab with NBA YoungBoy, tons of people all over the internet called DaBaby out for his decision. One of those people was Memo600. Now, before people start talking all about how Memo should shut his mouth because he wasn't even involved, that's not exactly the case. See, Memo was actually good homies with Von and Lil Durk. Memo's from the same hood, and while he's not involved in the larger beef, he's still an important part of the gang. Normally, if someone was speaking on something they didn't have a right to, I'd point that out, but I don't think that's the case. In the meantime, since the drop, Durk has pointed out that Von is on track to do much better than DaBaby and NBA YoungBoy numbers-wise, and dared anyone to try and release an album on the same day as his. Boss Top another homie from all the people involved, also said that folks sold $65K, meanwhile others can't with him. Since Memo was so firmly entrenched in that situation with Durk and Von, he should be able to say what he has to say about the situation. He's already hit back at YoungBoy and DaBaby in a post using the same format they used to promote Better Than You, but he took it a step further recently and DaBaby responded. To be honest, DaBaby's response can't even really be criticized because he's more or less right. So first off, Memo600 tweeted, "Can't blame DaBaby, he thought that man was gonna save his career." Sheesh. Obviously we know he's talking about the YoungBoy tape with his new one. Now, Memo really thought he was about to be doing something with this comment. That is, until DaBaby finally got back to him and let him know what was up. DaBaby's statement consists of the following. "Y'all tell boy ass funny as hell. Y'all on the internet playing try and run up your stripes while y'all big dog in my DM waving the white flag. Y'all must not be on the same page over there at OTF, but check this out. It ain't a gang, city, or neighborhood in the world scary enough to make baby pick and choose who get the money with. I ain't one of them. You don't like it, do something. I played it cool cause y'all want to make it about y'all partner and I on speaking on the dead. I'm on a fur. Every day I wake up ready to teach me someone like you, so long live him. King Von got my respect. He stood on business, no excuses. It was just another there ready to stand on business too. That's how we livin'. That's what gangsta is, ain't it? But the rest of you hoe-ass internet trying to be cool off another's name is some we are not the same, my boy. Ask your big dog. Now go call some real gangsters to step up for your pussy." Now I gotta take a second to just break all this down for you. First off, yeah, Baby has definitely had some issues after the whole Rollin' Loud thing, but it's definitely not like his career's on the line. The other major thing here is that apparently, at least according to Baby, who is obviously not on the side of OTF, there's some big homie waving the white flag into Baby's DMs. Who could that be? Well, since OTF is basically Lil Durk's thing, and the only dude bigger than Durk is Chief Keef, we can assume is Durk, since Keef isn't really in the picture anymore. But that's just an assumption. If that's true, that's huge. That means that Durk, even after he released Aha, is all done with his mess. After all the disrespect they put on his man's name and everything. While doubtless a lot of people are gonna think Durk's soft for that, if it's true, it's probably the smart move here. I mean, you already lost one of your day one homies thanks to this beef. And it's getting so hot that you could reasonably expect to lose someone else. Of course, they don't really want to admit defeat on this one, but what else do you do? The rest of this, for the most part, is just flexing. But what isn't is also important. While it might seem like DaBaby is doing a lot of posturing, and he is, he's also being kind of passionate here. I know how that sounds, but let me explain. He pointed out that the whole thing is about their partner who passed away. He's not even going to speak on Von though. When he does speak on Von at all, he talks about it in a reverent way. He straight up says that Von has his respect, and it doesn't sound like that's insincere. He said that Von was about his business because that's gang shit. At the same time, he allows the fact that Lil Tim was doing the same thing, and he isn't wrong. Seems like at the end of the day, DaBaby isn't really trying to stir stuff up. I'm gonna go ahead and say that YoungBoy's been on some disrespectful stuff basically this whole time. But honestly, DaBaby's more or less handling this right. It was definitely shady of him to go ahead and release the joint with YoungBoy, but that's just how it goes. What do y'all think on this one though? Is DaBaby actually handling this well? Did Memo have any place talking about all this stuff? Let us know down in the comments below. Oh, and if you like this video, make sure you check out this next one.